While you're crafting this early stage offer and continuing to work on your product or solution, you're fundraising. And when you're fundraising, investors are going to ask you what your traction looks like, what your market offer, what your pricing model is. You need to have answers for that are not nebulous. They have to be crystal clear. Greetings, founders and small business leaders. This is Kenan Rappuchi here, founder and chief growth officer of Sellerant, your business growth ally. Here with another episode of The Revenue Recipe. Here we give tactics, tips, tools, strategies, and real-world practical expertise on how to find, engage, qualify, present, propose, close, and win more better customers faster with the least cost and risk. Here today, we're going to talk about specifically the early stage. What we're talking about here are specifically founders of tech startups or B2B startups who have, let's say, maybe as little as 100K in funding, and they've got a minimum of an MVP, a minimum viable product that's monetizable, something that can deliver some element of value. You may be on your path to taking that to be whatever vision you have for that product or service, but you're early. You're seeking more funding. You're trying to build a team, trying to put this wonderful idea of yours into market and, make money. Okay, that's what it's about. You're not doing this for fun. And so at the end of the day, a question I get often asked in my coaching programs is the struggle around how do I monetize a pilot or a proof of concept or an early stage offer, my MVP. How can I make money? It's a chicken or the egg scenario. The answers are actually quite clear. And the tactic to do that is very simple. The first thing you have to do is identify your market, and a subset of that market are your early adopters. So if you're familiar with the technology adoption life cycle, you know that early adopters are generally characterized as those companies and those innovators who, honestly, they don't care that you're a startup. In other words, they're not afraid that you're not going to be open or around in 6 months. They know that you're early. They know that you're an innovator. They have some budget, and that budget to them is essentially, categorized as R&D. They don't necessarily expect returns of any kind other than outputs of learning. Hey, did this work? It's an experiment. When we talk about early adopters, we talk about finding evidence, and this is where AI can be helpful for you, because if you know how to prompt it properly, you know what companies in your specific target market are showing some signs of innovation. They've got an innovation initiative. They just put some funding in figuring out how to do something better or different, or how to use AI in a certain application, etc. They're innovators. So a mistake that a lot of founders make is they just try to spray and pray to everyone in their entire market. Bad idea, because you may find somebody who is not an early adopter but thinks that your idea is good, but you're going to spend time talking with them and doing a demo. And at the end of that, they're going to be saying, well, are you SOC 2 compliant? Give me 5 case studies of customers that are paying you now that verify or, essentially validate that what you're promising me for value is what I'm going to see. And you're not going to be able to do that. So you really need to hone in on those early adopter customers first. That's number one. Number two, pick a terminology for your offer. I hear a lot of proof of concept, pilot, MVP, development partnership. It's best to keep it simple. You can distinguish between a pilot and a proof of concept. Generally, a proof of concept is, hey, we want to see if this really works. A pilot is, let's find how it works in your specific use case. So there's ways to distinguish that. But what you don't want to do is make it confusing. You want to say, this is our offer at this stage. Our platform does these 3 things. On our roadmap are these 5 things in the next 6 months. With these 3 things, this is the value you're going to get, and this is how it's going to be applied in your business. So make sure there's alignment when you start those first conversations with early customers around what they're trying to achieve and how you can help them achieve it, or at least get closer to achieving it with your early stage product. Concurrently with trying to identify early adopter customers and getting paid pilots or proof of concepts, some amount of money in the door to show some traction to potential investors, well, you're going to be obviously fundraising, or you should be fundraising if you're lean on capital in early stages, which most of us are. When you're in an early stage, you're looking for funding, you're looking for growth, you're looking for traction. Investors who you are fundraising, and you should always be actively fundraising, they'll be asking you, tell us about your early customer traction. They may even ask you, characterize your early stage customer for us. They may have some referrals for you. Ultimately, what you need to do is be able to answer the question to an investor, what traction you have and what state your offer is in. To recap, the first thing you need to do is understand who your early adopters are. You don't want to waste any time talking to laggards or those that are, majority markets. They're probably going to spin a lot of tires, waste a lot of time, and they might just be trying to get information from you. Be very careful about that. So identify early adopters and create an offer for a pilot or proof of concept that shows value, that's very candid about what it can do now, what you anticipate it will do in the near future and when, and what kind of value what it delivers today will be experienced and seen by your early customer. Now, while you're crafting this early stage offer and continuing to work on your product or solution, you're fundraising. And when you're fundraising, investors are going to ask you what your traction looks like, what your market offer, what your pricing model is. You need to have answers for that are not nebulous. They have to be crystal clear. And they're looking specifically for alternatives for better technology, better processes, heck, just some kind of improvement over what they've been doing for however many years they've been doing it. And you have evidence of that. So when you present that offer and you talk about that to investors and obviously to your early adopter customers, you're going to lay it out in a way that's very simple. It's very easy to understand. There's maybe an infographic laid out with it on a nicely prepared deck. It shows you what they're going to get, how long it's going to be for. Make it time bound. 3 months is ideal. 6 months is stretching, but it depends again on the complexity of how you can install your solution and what the lift is on the early adopter customer to be able to try it. But have that prepared in a way that it's repeatable. Have that laid out in a way that your early adopter customer is going to understand. I see what you have. I see what it does. I understand what it doesn't yet do. And I understand what we're trying to achieve in this period of time. When you can lay it out in a simple way, then you can price it in a simple way. So one of the founders that I'm coaching, Porilio, they were just in the Mass Challenge Switzerland cohort. Ria, you're a rock star. I'm so proud of you for winning that platinum award. You deserve every penny of that and more. They've got a specific pilot that they put together that's simple for their customers to understand. We're going to ship you product. You're going to use our product. We're going to give you the instructions how to use that product to meet this end result. We're also going to provide you with a comparative analysis matrix there where you can take typical traditional standards of performance on your existing solutions, compare that directly against the performance of our solution. So you'll know in a matter of 30 days what you can really save with our product at scale. It's a thing of beauty. So this is an offer that's extended by a founder who has made it easy to understand what the early adopters get, easy to actually try, and ultimately easy to buy. So it's a fixed price. It's either $10,000 if you bring it to us or $5,000 if we give it to you. Very simple. It's the easiest offer to understand, and the adoption of that offer is going gangbusters, and she's going to scale faster than most businesses in her space. So that is the key. So if you want to get an understanding of how to do that, we're offering a session with me on how to craft the elements of your offer, along with a workbook to help you understand things like jobs to be done and distill that into practical information, how to nail the problem that your customer has, how to present your offer in a way that your customer can see that you're the only company that can give them what they want, and ultimately how to price that offer in a way that makes them say, you know what, that makes sense. Send me your contract, and ultimately get that yes. Now, there's a lot more to it, but those are the key fundamentals. Click on the QR code below, book a session with me. We'll run through the elements of the offer workbook. And for all early stage founders, we will help you solve the funding problem that everyone has without having to get investment, because we're going to get you revenue. Thanks again for joining the Revenue Recipe. If you're an early stage founder, I look forward to hearing from you. If you're scaling your business, you already understand the elements of an E3 offer. Keep rocking it to your growth. Thanks, guys.